Welcome everyone to What's Happening in Crypto, bringing you all of the latest from the crypto world and beyond. Another raft of giant announcements coming from the big money players on Wall Street this week. Yeah, I know it's the second video on it this week, but they have been doing so much that I thought it really deserved a second video because there is a lot of things happening, which is curious in of itself. Anyway, let's get into it. The SEC chairman was on CNBC and commented on Bitcoin ICOs and the Bitcoin ETF. Let's have a listen to what he had to say, and then I'll give you a few of my comments on it.
What's the message here, and what about the people who currently own ICOs? What's the value of their ICOs if they're dealing with a not registered security at this point?
Well, Bob, let's separate securities from non-securities. I think we've been clear that we don't believe Bitcoin is a security, but many of the ICOs that you see and you talk about, they are securities. And if you're going to offer and sell securities, you have to do so in compliance with our laws. I think we've been clear about that. The recent actions further emphasize that our securities laws do apply to the ICO space. If people are going to raise money using initial coin offerings, they either have to do so in a private placement or they have to register with the SEC. And when you register with the SEC, you got to provide financial statements and disclosure along the lines that we would expect.
So are all ICOs essentially in non-compliance? I know there can be some narrow windows where they might not necessarily be so, but you seem to be saying they're all in non-compliance right now. That seems to be the message.
We've had no ICOs registered with the Securities and Exchange Commission. To the extent an ICO has been conducted offshore or pursuant to a private placement exemption, fine. To the extent that you've conducted a public offering in an ICO, it's non-compliant.
Let me just move on. The Bitcoin ETF, we've been waiting for a long time for some final determination from you on that. Can you give us any update on where that might be?
The Bitcoin ETF is something that's been in front of the commission. I'm not going to comment on timing or anything like that, but we've been clear about some of the issues that are of concern to us, including trading in Bitcoin and whether there's reliable price information on trading markets, and as well as custody, as well as whether people who hold those assets can count on those assets to be there in the same way you can with other assets that underlie an ETF.
To the first point, doubling down on earlier statements, really, Bitcoin is not a security. No surprises there, but the affirmation is nice. Second point, most ICOs are securities. If you want to launch a security, then go to the SEC and get registered or do a private placement for accredited investors, or just stay right the heck out of the USA altogether. The message is very clear right now from the SEC. To the third point, the Bitcoin ETF. It is coming. He won't say when. They're still working through the core issues of custody and trading transparency and all of this stuff. No surprises here. Business as usual. Also, a bit later in the interview, he mentions that he thought that the Elon Musk fine sent a good message to the market and to other CEOs. For some reason, I feel like Jay Clayton really enjoys his job. Just a bit of speculation, though. The other huge news is that Bloomberg is reporting that we could see a Bitcoin future launching on the NASDAQ in Q1 of 2019. Now, a lot of people are treating this like a new news story, but actually the CEO of the NASDAQ has been talking about launching Bitcoin futures for quite some time, with some of the earliest comments going back about a year that they were working on the logistics of launching Bitcoin futures on the NASDAQ. But this new announcement is basically saying that they have not forgotten about launching Bitcoin futures and that they may be happening in the very near future. Well, another good move for basically institutional investors to be able to get involved here, but by the time they launch, they will be a bit late to the party, as the CME and CBOE futures have actually been out for about a year now, and BACT is scheduled for the end of January. But hey, welcome to the party, guys, over at the NASDAQ. Now, the super fascinating part of the NASDAQ futures story is that the NASDAQ has announced that they are teaming up with Van Eck. Now, they're doing this to bring in a whole host of new financial products to the market. As part of this announcement, Van Eck, director of digital assets, came out and said that they have been working very closely with the CFTC to bring in new standards of custody and surveillance. Now, as a reminder, Van Eck is one of the key players working right now on getting a Bitcoin ETF to the market, with a decision expected in late February. The chairman of the New York Stock Exchange and husband of Kelly Loeffler, the CEO of Bakkt, interesting fact for you, has come out saying that the survival of digital currencies as an asset class is unequivocally certain. The price that they will be at, he didn't really say. But my gut is telling me that the price for the future of Bitcoin is well above where we are right now. Just think about this. The CEO of ICE and the New York Stock Exchange and the incredibly talented Kelly Loeffler are putting a huge amount of their very, very precious time, money, and resources into building up the crypto industry on Wall Street when they could be literally doing anything else with their time. Just stop to ask yourself, why do you think they are doing that? Just take a moment, ponder that, let it wander around your head. And an extremely positive indicator for just how popular exchange-traded crypto products may prove to be on Wall Street when they actually get launched, the Amun Crypto Basket ETP, which recently began trading on 6 Swiss, shot straight to the top of that exchange in terms of volume, surpassing all other exchange-traded products available on the platform. Now, you have to keep it in mind that 6 Swiss is a relatively small exchange, only being the 4th largest in Europe, but this is exciting to see the interest from investors in these exchange-traded products. If this can repeat on Wall Street, then watch out, because that'll be massive. Goldman Sachs and Morgan Stanley are the first companies to be using the newly launched CLS.net, with others like the Bank of China committed to joining in the next few months. CLS.net is a blockchain-based payment netting service aiming at solving some of the current problems that we are seeing in the Forex markets. This will help to deliver standardization and automation to an industry that is still plagued by manually confirming transactions for many Forex markets. It will operate with over 120 different fiat currencies and is using Hyperledger. This story is to serve as a reminder that the big banks do not plan to go quietly into the night, but are developing new solutions and technology all the time. And finally, Coinbase is launching an OTC desk in their latest attempt to court institutional investors. I would be very happy to see the Coinbase OTC desk, as it will provide a nice data conduit to help give us some more insights into the otherwise very opaque Bitcoin OTC market. But you have to remember our mantra: Bitcoin doesn't need Wall Street, guys. But oh boy, here they come. And by the way, does anyone else find it odd the insane amounts of announcements coming out of New York recently? Something is definitely brewing over there. And I think that Wall Street and the big banks and the big exchanges are going to be surprising a lot of people over the next year. But those are just my 2 Satoshis. I would love to know your thoughts on any of today's stories down below in the comments section. Thumbs up the video if you enjoyed it. Hit that subscribe button if you are new around here. If you want to stay up to date with what is happening in crypto, better click on the bell down below. Join the conversation over on Twitter. You guys are awesome. I love you all. Long live the blockchain, and peace out till next time.